All right, welcome, Kelly. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me today.
I'm happy to have you. We're here today at TPA 360, and we're very proud to have Chris host us today, right, in his studio. So, thank you to Chris for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I'm going to start with a very simple but complex question so that people can get to know you a little bit
Okay.
better, right? Who is Kelly Smith?
All right. I love that question. I feel like that's something I'm learning every day. But if I had to describe who Kelly Smith is, I would say she's someone who, and look at me talking in the third person, but I would really say that Kelly is someone who is very committed to whatever project that she's working on. I am someone who really just cares about humans. I know that's so general, but for me, I'm passionate about life. I think I've done so many different things in my life that it's put me in a space where I just want to make sure that everyone is okay. And so I'm not trying to save the world. I'm just trying to make a difference. And so Kelly is just, I'm going to stop talking in third person, but I'm really just somebody who wants to ensure that when I leave this earth, I left a mark and that I'm remembered for the good things and that I'm remembered that I tried my best. And that's all I can say.
I really do feel that about you, right? Like you
Yeah.
really do want to make sure people are okay. And as I'm getting to know you better and I'm learning more about you, even your reputation in the community is such, right? I never heard a negative word said about you.
That's a good
It
thing.
is a good thing. And I had the privilege of attending your recent fundraiser and learning a little bit more about you. And I know you talked about growing up in like a military family, right? How did that shape your sense of community? And did that instill like a sense to serve at all?
Absolutely. Growing up in a military family, we had to create community wherever we lived. And really, a lot of my childhood, I grew up in Hampton, Virginia. And in that, it's definitely a military community with the Air Force Base, the Navy base, the Army base not too far. And so I'm just very appreciative that my parents connected with individuals in our neighborhoods. You know, they were my uncles and aunts. And it taught me that we all have to support and help each other. And so it just was ingrained in me to always support, you know, the community because they're the ones that I'm going to call when there's an emergency or they're going to be the ones that I'm going to visit when they're sick. I know graduating college, my neighbors drove all the way to North Carolina to go to my graduation
Aw.
party and you know things like that. That is what family looks like to me is you know making a difference and impacting someone else's life that they feel strong enough to support you no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I know the slogan of your campaign is Kelly Cares.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Where does that come from?
Well, I will say when we were brainstorming with my team, and we were really trying to come up with something impactful, it all kept going back to I just care. And I know that sounds simple, but there's so many elements of my life that I want to be able to share with others. And I'm not saying I've done it all, but I've experienced a lot. And I realized all the experiences that I've had have all brought me to this moment. A lot of times I didn't understand while I was, you know, while I was dealing with, you know, being in certain situations, throughout my life, they were difficult, but there were moments that I was able to overcome. It all brings me to this moment. Now I genuinely just care that I can support and help in any way that I can. There's a lot of things that I've
Yeah.
been through that I haven't really, really shared, but there's been moments, I was an Army veteran. Um, I was a wartime vet. There was a time, I was divorced,
Yeah.
thankfully I've got a wonderful husband now, super supportive, but there was a point where I was homeless and I don't talk about that. I was a single mom. There's a lot of things that I've dealt with and I couldn't understand why then.
Yeah.
I don't look back and I'm not regretful about anything because every one of those moments have prepared me for now. So
Yeah.
when there's someone in the community that needs support, I understand and I feel your pain. And that's going to, empower me to want to do even more, because I don't want people to have to go through what I did.
Absolutely. That's amazing. It reminds me of something my mom always says to me, which is kindness is not weakness, right? And you sharing your story is just a reminder of you can go through a lot, but you can still be kind, right? You can still be kind to people and deliver. Is there anything you would like to share, maybe your parents, a lesson or a story that has been instilled in you that you carry with you every day?
Absolutely, to never give up. Um, no matter what, don't give up, and it's not over until it's over. And so I've watched my parents reach out and support, even our extended family. I just remember our house being a revolving door of neighbors and family members and other kids down the road coming and hanging out at our house. And I couldn't understand why, because we didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
She could stretch I remember my mother could stretch any of our meals, and what I thought was only appropriate for 5, she would make it for 15. And I would be like, why are we doing this when we don't have a lot? I saw my dad working 3 jobs at one point. Like, these are all things that I witnessed, but my mom was like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And she didn't really even have to explain, and neither did my father. It was just what they modeled. And so never give up. It's not over, because when we needed something, guess what? They went out and worked for it. And so I'll always be appreciative of those lessons that they instilled in me. So
Kelly, you have such a strong family foundation. While I was at your fundraiser, you told a story about your brother, and it nearly moved me to tears. But, the people in that room didn't know me that well, so I didn't want anyone to see me crying. So I held it together. But later, when I was reflecting on the story, I was telling someone about it, I was moved to tears again. But I would love if you could share that story so people can hear it. It's just so beautiful.
absolutely. One of the things that's very impactful for me is I am really close, again, with my entire family, but my brothers both live on the West Coast. And so people were like, oh my goodness, you live so far. And I was like, no, but it seems like they live next door, because we are just that close and we're just that supportive of each other. And I remember growing up, my oldest brother, Eric, he's 3 years older than me. And so, of course, he did the typical big brother thing, bully his little sister. And of course, I got on his nerves.
Yes.
But I remember in the 9th grade, of course, he was a senior. So when he graduated, he was going to college. I was super excited. I had someone to look up to that was going to college. He was going to Hampton University. And then he dropped out. And I, of course, love to be like, oh, you couldn't hack it. This is little sister talking. And he decided to go to the Air Force. And so I remember he was working all the time. And I couldn't understand why. You're going to the Air Force, but you're spending your time working. You don't have that much longer with me. Hang out. And I remember coming home from school one day, and there was a car in the driveway. And the license plate said, I'm Kelly. So clearly I knew it was for me. And I was so shocked, because he worked all summer. He worked so that he could make sure that I was taken care of. And he worked it out with my dad that, hey, if I can buy Kelly a car, can you help her with insurance? And so he was that protector, and that was his sacrifice that he did for me. And so then I found out that my brother, he didn't drop out of college because he couldn't handle it. He dropped out of college because he saw that there was potential in me. And he said, I knew that our parents could not afford to send us both to college at the same time. So he decided to go to the military so that I would have the opportunity to go to college. And for me, that is a sacrifice at that age. That was not the ultimate sacrifice, but how much you thought about your sister, how much you cared and did everything that you could to ensure that I was successful. And so he wanted to make things a little easier for me, and he did just that. So I will forever be grateful for that moment. And even today, again, I am proud to say that both him and I are now both getting our PhDs together. Yes. And for me, that is a life lesson that I want to always, give back to others and give them that same opportunity.
Beautiful. I love that story. And the youngest sibling myself, it's our duty to annoy our older siblings. So.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad they don't hold it against us.
Right. I'm so happy because we did some things.
So you and your siblings followed your father's path by serving in the military.
Yes.
What did that experience teach you about leadership and sacrifice?
That experience, well, being in the military, one, I am so proud to say that I come from a family of people who serve, and including my current husband. So when I look at the people that surround me, I see that we all took that oath to protect and serve. And we all did it in different ways. And so it definitely takes leadership to join the military and say yes, because that's where you're giving your life over and you don't really have the ability to have a say so in where you're moving and what type of operation that you're working in. And so I will say that it's made me a better leader. We're all leaders in our own way because of that service. We all lead differently. And I feel like for me, I've always felt like I worked in the background, but everyone looked at me as a leader. And I'm like, well, I'm just working in the background. But that's what the military teaches you. You do what you have to do. When you need to, there's no question. And you do it, they train you just to make quick decisions. And for that, I will always be grateful.
Yeah. And you can lead from anywhere, right?
Anywhere.
Yeah. The back, the side, the front.
Yes, absolutely anywhere.
Yes, leaders can lead from anywhere. And so you talked about this earlier, but you're now pursuing your PhD.
I am.
And clearly you're also running for office. Which came first?
The PhD program.
So you knew you were getting your PhD, and you decided to run for office at the same time.
Yeah, I questioned my own self.
What made you pursue running for office while all your other endeavors?
Because I felt like it was time. When I realized that that seat would be vacant, the county council seat, District 1 seat would be vacant, I knew that it was an opportunity for me to actually get out there and make a difference. And I questioned myself, like, is it time? But if not now, when? Because I know right now, we as a people, this country is going through a lot. And so this is an opportunity to say, this isn't like somebody else do it. We always do that. We always say, somebody else can do it. But I know that I'm qualified. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I know what I could do in the seat. And so though the timing may not be perfect, and it may not align with what my other endeavors were, I'm making it align. You make time for what's important. And so this was important. And so we're making it work.
Yeah. We talked about, your strong community connections and your desire to build community and your family ties, and your pursuit for higher education and your desire to lead. How do you see all this connecting and flowing to the county council seat you're running for?
What I believe is that knowledge is everything. And so I listen and I hear what the people are saying in the community. And so that's what I want to always do, is to listen, because you're not representing yourself, you're representing everyone else. And so I want to be able to connect with the community, see what their concerns are, see what things are working well. And when it's time to vote, when it's time to talk with the other council members and we, are voting on different things, I want to be informative and I want to be able to speak on behalf of the people that reside in my district. And I want our voices to be heard. I don't want to just say yes. I want to do what makes sense for those residents in District 1. That's why they would elect me. And so I feel like if the community supports and they show up, it is my job to speak on their behalf.
Absolutely. So as I'm sure you know, and as you continue to learn, District 1 has communities and they have diverse needs, right? From Brooklyn Park to Glen Burnie. What are you hearing out there? What are people saying?
I feel like it is such a diverse district. I'm actually thankful for that. And what I'm hearing is that there's so many pockets of places that people need support. But what I am also hearing is that they're willing to be the change. So they're willing to get out and support and not just talk about it and not just complain about it. They want to actually help.
Yeah, they want to be part of
the solution.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm hearing actually throughout the district. They're sharing some of their concerns, but they're also sharing how they're willing to support and help. They just need a little push. They just need to know the how. They just need to know where. And so that part is what I do know, is that they're willing to support and help.
That really resonates with me because, my day job, I won't mention the title or where I work, but in my day job, I hear a lot of constituents talk about various things. No one expects government to solve all their problems, right? But they do expect government to help. And so I think that's exactly what you're saying. And if we reshift priorities and think differently about what it means to serve our residents, we can get a lot done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if elected, or when you're elected,
we'll speak the when. We have to speak things into existence.
Exactly. So when you win, what will be your top priorities for the district?
Education is always going to be a big priority of mine. It just is. My mother is an educator, has been for most of my life. She's still teaching. So education has been ingrained in me as well. So that will always be a top priority, to make sure our students and our staff are getting what they need. I know there's a big mentoring thing going on in Anne Arundel County, which I'm excited about. So hopefully we can encourage more of our residents to come help mentor those students, no matter what area that they live in. Public safety is another big issue. My husband is, retired law enforcement. We were, I'm an Army veteran and my family is military. Public service is so important. I realize that we all want it, but it's nothing we focus on as a people. You want it when it's time. When you need support, you just want to be able to pick up the phone. And so just all of that, even in public safety, honestly, mental health is a big issue. That is a huge issue. So I really want to be able to, partner and figure out how we can help the residents before things happen, before people get to a space that they need, right. Support in those areas. Just housing. Again, I've shared this before, but when you tell your kids to go out and do great things, and they go and do it, they go through the process, they go to school, graduate, difficulty finding jobs because of the environment that they're in. They can't get out and achieve that American dream of buying, much less renting a home or an apartment.
I'm right there with them.
It's difficult. So however I can support those endeavors and educate myself in those, that's what I want to do. That's really a top priority of mine.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm sure as you're campaigning, you're going through all the difficulties that come with it. What's something that brings you peace throughout all this?
Sleep.
Well, that's an easy one.
Honestly, what genuinely brings me peace is my family.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
My husband and my family, they're a part of this journey with me. And so when I look across the room and they're there, that calms me and it brings me a sense of peace to know that I am not doing it alone.
Absolutely. I'm sure that does bring you peace. What do you want people to remember you most about in your approach to public service?
I want people to remember that I did it from my heart, and that I'm always going to be led from my heart, and I'm going to be genuine, and the Kelly you get is the Kelly you're always going to get. And so I want people to know that when you're speaking with me and when you're, at the end of it, I want them to know that Kelly was genuine and I believe what she said. They're not just words. And so that's what I want people to remember.
Absolutely. I'll have to say, working in this space, it becomes more about the character of the person, right? You want to believe that people are about what they say, and they're going to do what they say, and they mean what they say, right? And I definitely sense that from you, Kelly. So I look forward to continue watching you on your journey. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners, viewers with?
What I want people to know is that this is never about just Kelly. I'm surrounded and supported by an amazing team of people that genuinely have the same heart that I have, to serve and to do well. And so when you see me and when I'm represented, you will always see I surround myself with people who care just as much as I do. Just my campaign manager, Lindsay, and when I see her heart for the veterans, and, Sekou, who's my volunteer coordinator, his passion to work with young people is heartwarming. Nikki and Larry and there's just so many. My husband, when I see how passionate he is about mentoring young men and being there and being supportive, it brings me to tears. And so I want you all to know that when you get me, you get the real deal. When you get me, no matter what the outcome is, I'm still going to be there. This race is not going to keep me from supporting my community. And so I've been supporting the community. I'm doing it now, and I will continue to do that in the future. And so I do have to give a shout out, honestly, to the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
I knew it was coming.
Especially the legendary ladies of the Lambda Delta Sigma chapter. I do have to say I've been a member for 27 years.
Awesome.
And they have been a dynamic group of women who have pushed me to do better. Yeah. And so when you see me, you see this great dynamic group of women that are committed to serve the community. Yeah. And so when you see that, royal blue and gold rocking, that you have people and supporters that are going to be there for you. So I love that I have that community support, and it's a lifetime thing. So you're always, for the rest of my life, going to be surrounded by dynamic groups of women that want to serve the community in every way that they can. So I just had to throw that in there.
I love that. I think the theme of this interview is when you see Kelly, she's never alone.
No. And neither are you. If I'm with you, you are never alone.
All right.
But I always tell people when I meet them, you stuck with me. I do. When I go out to these HOAs and I go and meet community members, you're stuck with me. Sorry. Like it or not, I am here to stay. So thank you. Thank you so much today. I really appreciate this
great
interview.
Job, Kelly. Fantastic. Look forward to seeing your journey, and we'll see what happens next.
Yes. Thank you so much for today.
No problem. All right.